Well, hello again, YouTube. It's Petey Two Finger. Happy New Year. And I'm here today. I wanted to show you what Gomti got for Christmas. Ta-da! It's a pedalboard. So there is a tuner, a Korg DT10 tuner, which is a buffered tuner. Um, a Snow White Auto Wah. This is a Joyo Ultimate Drive, which is a clone of a OCD. It's supposed to be a really pedal that works very well for bass. This is I think it's a Nuix. It's a K-line. It's a K-line wine cellar, which the wine cellar is a preamp. It's got a drive control, high and low EQ, harmonics control, and then a mix, which I believe is for the drive. Then we have a Coco compressor and a Omni cab sim. So this one here is homemade, and this one here is homemade. The other ones I got used. Well, this one was new, this one was new, and this one was new. And these are they're affordable pedals. They're about a third of what I would normally pay. That being said, this is just kind of an experiment. I never had a bass pedal board, and I played bass for many years, and I may end up reverting to that at some point. So you could probably use this for guitar too, a little bit. I mean, the neat thing about the tuner is that it's buffered, and it's really easy to use, this tuner. This is a clone. I think it's called a Seven Dwarfs, but this is a $300 pedal. This is a $300 pedal. So there's a couple, nicer. They're all good circuits. What we did. I did not install these batteries here. Actually, I had this pair over here when we tested everything, and then there's this cardboard with kind of washers. These are like these big square washers that I got, and I couldn't find the fourth one. So, but rather than hot glue the wiring down, I just put almost like the idea of a splash shield on an automobile. So you load up a pair of batteries, 4 batteries, and what that does is one pair of batteries powers the bottom row, and one pair of batteries powers the top row. And what we did, we set up a current draw test, and we tested the amount of milliamps that each circuit draws at idle, and we added those up into 2 pairs of pedals that would be equal. What we didn't want to do was blindly wire this and end up realizing that this one pair of batteries drains a lot sooner than the other pair of batteries. And that would be happening if the pedals that draw the most current were paired up. So we got them down to adding it up from the measurements that we took, like 48 and 45 milliamp. So it's not a lot. Like this is not a lot of current draw. Now also these pedals will be running at closer to 8.5 volts, because that's what a pair of those 18650s puts out. And that's not, to me, that's not like, oh, it's not I need to run 18 volts for high headroom. It's a passive bass. I'm not concerned in the least. Does not bother me in the least. As a matter of fact, I swing towards the understanding that some circuits sound better to gain a more pleasing distortion when they're not powered at high current flow, high voltage. A little bit lower voltage. And there's session guys that will carry around a box of dead 9-volt zinc carbon batteries, not Duracells. These are the old Everready, the one with the cat on it. And in their studio gig, they'll try out different batteries on their fuzz pedal to see if they can get the one that does exactly what they want. So that's a moot point, and I can't overstress that. I know what you're thinking, but experience has showed me that running a pedal off of 8.5 volts versus 9 volts is going to be a negligible difference, and it's going to run just fine when it comes to a pair of 18650s. They're going to power that quite a bit longer than a 9-volt battery would. And considering what we got here, how low, like there really isn't any high, we got 0.16, 0.23, 0.06, 0.25, 0.10, and 0.13. These are pedals that draw a tiny amount of current, so that's a moot point. Now, it's got these handles. This is a chopping block. I saw this chopping block at a Goodwill store, and it was $1.99, and I'm glad I bought it. I just sanded it up a little bit and then shot it. There is some 1-bys here. There's a pair of 1-bys split to give room for the switch. And then there's this, which is a backing piece from the back of a drawer. I disassembled some furniture in the garbage to obtain scrap wood. I pulled a drawer out, and the back panel of that drawer, that's this piece. So there's rubber feet that poke out about 1.5 millimeters past this, and then in the front there's rubber feet too. This piece here, I cut that piece. I didn't have, believe it or not, I thought, I know I used to have a real lot of just 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch little rods. And we dug under the bed, dug in all of my stashes where I keep wood, didn't have any. So I had a piece of wood that was about half that size. I drilled some holes in it, countersunk those screws, and drilled it into another larger board that I laid on the table. And then I was able to grab the saw and cut this piece off. So it was a couple of days of shooting paint, which the only paint that I had in the house was the only black paint. Walmart, a while ago, they started just kind of running out of their spray paint. I used to always get my spray paints from Walmart, and then they just kind of petered out to not having it. The generic 99-cent rattle can brand that I was familiar with. So I did have a single, a tall can of Krylon black, gloss black primer and paint. So that's what I used to shoot it. I did not shoot these the white handles. I thought about it, but I did not. I had these rubber feet in stock. These 4 rubber feet that you see in the front, those were originally the rubber feet that were on the chopping block. So it does sit at a little bit of an angle. If you look at, it's kind of like that a little bit. And I really like the tuner, the Snow White Auto. Wow, I played with it like I built it, and I just played with it, and it's a good Ottawa. It really is. I've played some kind of janky Ottawas that don't really have a lot of control. This has sensitivity, it has depth, it has resonance, and it has bias control. The ultimate drive, I haven't checked that out yet. The wine cellar, I only know from the wine cellar is this preamp, and it's does have an XLR out, which I may reroute these or just eliminate this and run direct out into the board off of that XLR. But the wine cellar, when you turn the drive all the way up, it's not pleasant. If you have the drive up at like a little bit of grit, it sounds good. This is supposed to be a good pedal for the price, with the exception of the fact that the drive isn't great. If you crank it and expect to get like a Black Sabbath or Billy, like, I don't know about, I think you probably can kind of get the Billy Gould slightly distorted bass sound out of it. But as far as like a fuzz bass, no. And that's the one complaint people have about this thing. And that's where the Ultimate Overdrive is going to fill in. This Coco compressor, from what I've heard, is supposed to be just a great compressor for bass guitar. Same with this Ultimate Overdrive. Bass players love this pedal. And then the Omni cab sim, I built that. We'll see. We'll see about how all this stuff functions. If stuff comes off and gets put on, we'll see. What I did, I ordered some bicycle chain links. So this pedal, as you can see, I made these little brackets that screw on. There's 3 brackets on that, only 3 on the tuner. There's another one up here, and then those 2 here. And that's plumber's tape, metal brackets that I made. And then I don't know if you can see above it the bicycle chain link idea, that typically you only use a couple, 2 or 3, and fasten it down like that. So it was not cheap to get those bicycle links. But they serve their purpose, and there's no Velcro, there's no wobbling of the pedals, and there's no where you drill 2 holes and run a zip tie through it. So they're all stationary. They don't wobble at all, and there's no gum or gook. Also, the wine cellar, the screws on the wine cellar did not fit. They're slightly larger diameter. They did not fit through the bicycle chain holes. So I fabricated little mounting tabs with the metal tape. And probably what I'll do on a day when I'm bored is take this apart, remove these, shoot them flat black, and then put them back on there. And I get it, you know, like I would probably prime those. I would probably sand them, rub them with some thinner rag, and then shoot them with primer, and then shoot them with the flat black. Just in order for it to stick more. But generally, I don't see why anyone would be messing around with those. So hopefully they would get painted black and they would look decent, because it's just kind of a clash up in there with the silver on the yellow. Like this is a good looking board. The one problem with it would be that its weight. It's a little bit heavy. This is like 10-15 pounds or so. But that being said, it's a sturdy unit, right? So I think it came out really well. One thing that you cannot see is the wiring, because I put this cardboard panel over that wiring just to rather than like hot gluing it down, you know. But the wiring is fairly neat, and I I resisted the urge to have the power wires come out and then, hey, one over here, and one over there, like where they all come in and meet. It's like daisy chained wiring, and I think that's how you're supposed to do it when it comes to the powering of guitar pedal wiring for pedal board requirements. I looked it up and couldn't find anything out. So yeah, this idea was something that Gomti never had a pedal board, and the idea of looking over there and seeing her dancing and turning stuff on and off. I mean, she really uses 3 tones. She has a straight bass, actually like 4. Really, when you get down to it, straight bass, slightly distorted. Her straight bass tone is low end, heavy. It's almost like a scoop. It's not like when you hear some bass playing from the 70s, there is no low end. It's all mids. And that's I play bass. I don't play mid range. So when I set this stuff up for her, it's bassy, you know. So yeah, she has that bassy sound. She has another sound which is overdriven bass, which I really like that. Then there's like a distorted bass where it's like fuzzed out, and that's more difficult to work with. You know, you lose a little low end. You might have to adjust your EQ. Seems like we like to have the compressor always on. Then the auto wah, which is a clean bass sound or a slightly overdriven with an auto wah. So those are her bass sounds. This tuner with the buffer, that buffer is like a miniature amplifier that just compensates for any loss. And by loss, when we have long cable and a bunch of true bypass pedals, every time you have a little patch cable and jacks, there's resistance and all that stuff, and you have current signal loss. So your high end gets shaved off. So the idea of having your first pedal in your chain having a buffered bypass system means that you retain all of your signal. So basically, you could plug this pedal board into the amp and play through it, even with everything shut off. And then you could get rid of the pedal board and just plug a cable straight into your amp, and you would hear no difference in the tone of the bass. If you don't have a buffered bypass and you have some long chords, let's say you have 6 true bypass pedals, and you perform that switch, what you're going to find is when your guitar is plugged straight in with a cable, it's going to be very bright and sound very good. All the harmonics are available for your ear to hear. But then when you put the pedal board in there, even if everything's bypassed, it's going to sound like there's a couple of wet blankets over the amplifier, or that you put it in a closet. So that's what I was looking for when I purchased the DT10. That's the name of that Korg tuner. When I purchased my DT10 used, it was because I know that the Boss tuners are people. I see so many people saying like, "Oh, you can get them for $15 on." I've never seen a Boss tuner. I've never seen a Boss tuner on Craigslist. If you're seeing them for $10 all the time, buy me 3 and I'll pay you $50 for them. How's that sound? So the point is, when I went looking for a tuner that has a buffer in it, I didn't find too many. What I did find is the Korg DT10, you can find them used. They're rated as really good tuners that work well for bass guitar and also has a buffer. So that made enough sense to me. The wine cellar was kind of an afterthought. Initially, I wasn't planning on that. I was just going to get the compressor, the overdrive, and we have the cab sim and the auto wah. So this was a really fun project. You're going to be able to hear this next spring and summer when we do remote jams. Although maybe when I hook it up to test it out, we'll shoot some footage and you guys will get a sneak peek on it. So thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions about paddleboard building, you can ask me. I've done this 5 or 6 times. I actually was paid to do it on a couple occasions, building pedal boards that have parallel, like a mixer, where you're able to have the effect levels mixed in parallel. So that was something fun that I went through in the 80s and ended up building one. Somebody paid me to build them one. So I do know a little bit about it, but the way I do it is it's not necessarily what people are doing now, meaning purchasing stuff, going and buying. That end of I could tell you how to put one together on a shoestring budget. As far as doing it the right way, I have no idea. So that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful New Year's. We were supposed to go and celebrate our Christmas with my family, and there's a snowstorm. And unfortunately, I really don't want to drive in a when they're telling us
treacherous driving conditions.
Don't drive. I don't want to drive the couple hours. It's like about an hour and a half one way. So that really sucks. But Gomti and I are going to be here entertaining ourselves. Maybe we'll even play with the pedalboard and shoot some video for you tomorrow. So that being said, Happy New Year. Stay warm. Hug your pets. And peace.